All right, welcome to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Game Counselor. We're just going to jump into it because I expect this to be like a short extra video, but it's something that I want to talk about, the whole Nintendo situation. They're taking L's, like against Power World. Like they took multiple L's, like multiple of their patents were dismissed, thrown out into the, the oblivion. And now it's rumored that they may be facing 0% chance. And if they do win, they'll only get a 30K payout. The only way to watch Shill Stevens is through React, so keep doing the Lord's work. Okay, I don't know who they are, but I appreciate you. Yeah, I don't know who we're gonna react to Luke Stevens. I don't know who they are, but we're gonna react to them. But public records show the Nintendo versus Pocket Pair case is practically wrapped up, and the best Nintendo can hope for is 30K chump change. Kind of wild outcome in the end. Seems like it was a huge waste of time for Nintendo. Yes. Well, the thing about Nintendo is that they're the Satan of gaming. Like they really are. Every Nintendo L will never be enough. Yes, Nintendo is the Satan of gaming. They're literally the shittiest studio to exist. They're the anti-consumer.com. Like multiple situations where they have straight up canceled, tournaments with their game. Like they came in and said, no, you can't host a tournament. Like the amount of and ROMs of games they've canceled, the amount of that were free, by the way, they weren't actually selling stuff. There were some sales happening too. Those I think are legitimate. If people are trying to profit off your product, that makes sense. But they were actually going around trying to sell free ROMs, not sell, sorry. They were going around trying to cancel the free ROMs. And obviously they've realized they can't do that. They'll waste a lot of time. And so they've essentially given up for now. We'll see how that plays out. They've canceled a couple, really big indie Pokemon ROM fan-made games. One that comes to mind is Uranium. I don't know if that ever got finished or what happened with that one, but I know it was big news whenever they got like a cease and desist from Nintendo for trying to stop Uranium. But anyways, Nintendo sucks dick. And I also I worked at Walmart and they tried to sell cardboard again, amiibos or whatever it's called. God, Nintendo selling cardboard. Yes, y'all remember when Nintendo got away selling cardboard. When I say that there isn't a worse community than the Nintendo fanboys, I mean it. They will see this and say, what's wrong with it? This was literally sold at my store. It wasn't cheap. It was like $30, $40, something like that. And it was cardboard. You could make this at home if you were artistic. But people will defend Nintendo till they die. But anyways, it's always good to see Nintendo take an L when they overreach. They're assholes. They deserve it. So we're gonna react to this clip. We're gonna see what it's all about. And yeah.
Real quick, little tidbit of news. Might have missed it, but just a little something for you. It looks like, according to publicly available records, the Nintendo lawsuit against Palworld developer Pocket Pair looks like it's basically tying up, and that it basically went nowhere. Which
surprise!
Is kind of awesome, frankly. Nintendo wanted to block Palworld. Now it faces a 0% chance and a measly 30K payout. This is, of course, from Windows.
Just for people at home wondering why I react, I could sit there and give all my opinions, which I do anyways. It's nice to hear other people's opinions, especially when it's people who are also vindicating what I've been saying. So I myself don't feel crazy. Like, am I crazy for thinking this? Because you see things and you're like, I'm not crazy, right? And so it's nice to react. And so people get upset that I react. Well, yeah, because it's nice to get other opinions. Instead of living in my own little box, I try to look out and watch, and I watch other people. Like, I don't know who this person is, so I'm getting their opinion.
Central, where they actually went and found some of these public records that describe some of this. Oh my God, the ads are crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fast forward to today. Palworld 1.0 is about to launch on July 10th. A report from patent litigation experts at Games Fray reveals that the stakes in Nintendo's case have practically shrunk to nothing ahead of the Tokyo District Court hearing on October 1st. At this point, Nintendo has little to no chance of halting Palworld in its tracks, and even if they win any of the remaining technical arguments, the maximum payout is capped at a measly $30,000.
That's something to note, by the way. First off, I'm July 10th. Your boy's gonna be playing that. It'll have to be after work because I'll be starting summer clubs essentially. So I'm gonna be running car club. Whoop whoop. We're playing TCG, Pokemon, and Magic the Gathering all summer with the kids. Dude, I'm so excited. You want to know what brings joy to me? It's beating up a bunch of kids in Pokemon Magic the Gathering. I'm sorry. I know I just talked about Nintendo fanboys, and I'm talking about beating, elementary kids at Pokemon. But hey, those 5th graders know how to play Magic Gathering. Like, I've lost a couple of games in Commander because they know how to play. They'll go for, and they know to go for me. Like, I am enemy number 1 in every game. They are smart. I know, small tidbit, but hey, a little bit insight to me for you in the video, right? But something to talk about is Nintendo has tried to throw, like, no one's, like, I'm not gonna say no one. Something that I didn't address earlier in the video is that Nintendo has thrown multiple patents after Nintendo or Palworld released an update. Like, it seemed like every time there was an update, there was a new patent to try to go against it. Nintendo tried so hard. The biggest thing that people are upset and has a hold on them was the throwing pals out, like being able to throw your pals and fly on your pals. Like that is something that I think a lot of people, I don't know if you can fly still or not. I haven't played Palworld in a minute. I've been waiting for the 1.0, the official launch. We're going to start scratch. But essentially, Nintendo has been desperately trying to stop. And it's funny, I knew that they would fail the moment that, like, was it PlayStation or Xbox? I think it was Xbox came out and immediately started supporting the game. It was the biggest middle finger to Nintendo because you knew that they were going to fail. That if other studios, like not studios, but publishers like Microsoft and even Sony are willing to have this game on their platform, you knew Nintendo wasn't going to win this. Like, I knew already. It was just them trying to see if they can burn out cash, try to waste, and they failed. They failed to make Palworld a failure. Palworld is going to pop off. I expect it to have massive sales. I hope it does. They earned it. They deserve it. And people are like, it's just a Pokemon clone. I mean, you could say Pokemon is a clone of Digimon. People forget that Digimon also exists. Evolution? Hello? Digimon had that before Pokemon. Like, the arguments that people use to try to defend Nintendo is mostly asinine.
This chump change is hardly a victory for Nintendo. Bro, they probably spent more than that on lawyers.
Exactly.
To the initial paperwork filing. Like,
spent
that's
a shit ton.
Not what they wanted. They wanted to, like, get the game shut down forever. That was their goal, was shut down Palworld. You can't do the throw balls at monsters thing. Like, that's patented. Like, they didn't want any of that to be allowed.
And here's the thing. Nintendo flew too close to the sun. They probably might have had some success, but they got greedy. They threw everything at the pan, and they threw too much. Because the court saw what they were doing. And what happened is also they were overreaching. Some of the patents were so generic, it would actually, impede other studios. Like, people don't realize some of this bull crap that Nintendo was trying to patent. Like, hey, we have that in other games too. Like, that would give them like the golden ticket to sue all these studios or anyone or any competition. And that's just bad for the consumer overall. And that's what Nintendo wants. Nintendo doesn't want competition. They don't want competition because that means it forces them to actually provide better customer service or provide what customers want, which is why you're seeing a shift in Pokemon right now. They're trying to shift over, which I think ZA was fine. I still think it was comparatively ass compared to Palworld. Especially the fact that they gave you a city simulator versus an actual Pokemon experience. Like, I'd rather go play the classic generation Pokemon versus let's sit in the city simulation. Woo! I get to play in parks. This is like Pokemon for little Timmy. And they know, by the way, Nintendo knows that it's widely popular among adults. Like, there's no shot that they'd be like, yeah, it's for kids. They know who their actual audience is. It's all the people like me, right?
And it looks like they're just, fighting over pedantic individual little lines in the code and legal code and hoping that they can win something.
Yep.
Pocket Bear is going all in for the 1.0, promising the biggest content drop in the game's history, including access to the mysterious world tree and more brand new pals than any other previous update. Bucky even showed this. One of the many, many, many new pals you can meet in Pal World 1.
Guys, it's just another Pokemon. I don't remember a Pokemon like this in the game. Actually, what is that, Fire Bunny? I guess you could kind of argue it, but even then, that's a stretch. Like, it's a massive stretch.
1.0. Look at that. Look at that. So it's kind of amazing, but Nintendo seemingly has achieved pretty much nothing with the lawsuit.
They failed.
And we'll see in October, like, what that looks like. But my understanding is that how it stands right now, the only kind of bullet points that they are arguing over that haven't been dropped have max payouts totaling $30,000.
Yep.
And there's no such, they can't just get the whole game blocked according to how the law is written in Japan. So how it is right now is that, like, they might.
At this point, Nintendo is a big fat loser. That's the reality. Nintendo is the biggest, fattest loser. They're taking an L. Not only that, but they're going to be humiliated. That people are going to look at them and be like, you're Nintendo and you couldn't stop the game and you only get a measly $30K, which, by the way, is going to be used to pay significantly more in lawyer fees. We laugh at Nintendo.
I get a vacation,
more like Nintendo
out of it as a settlement, and then it's just done, which is kind of crazy. But it always felt to me like so nasty for them to be suing Pal World. Like, yeah, they took something we all can agree it's heavily inspired by Pokemon, to say the very least. But
inspiration isn't a basis to be able to sue someone. If that was the case, then Call of Duty could sue FPSs. Hell, Halo could sue a bunch of FPSs. Inspiration does not equate copyright. You can't copyright inspiration. You can't. Now, if it's literally a 1-for-1 or very, very simple, like literal 1-for-1, and some of the examples that people try to use as example 1-for-1 is just the generic animals or things that would already exist. Like the knockoff game that tried to copy Power World. That was an example of egregious, almost 1-for-1. Like, okay, you're not even hiding. You're not even like, at least this, yes, it's inspiration, but there's been inspiration for Pokemon for years. This is also good for them, by the way, because this means that Nintendo cannot sue people who make games similar to Pokemon. That's great. Competition is always a great thing for the consumer.
Is effectively the Pokemon game that Nintendo was incapable of delivering, and then they do it way better than Nintendo could, and
yes,
then Nintendo's reaction is not to go, why were they beat? Why do people love this so much more than what we've been doing? No, I don't want to think about it. Sue them. Like, it was so stupid. I guess I should clarify. Yes, Pokemon stuff still sells millions and millions of copies, even when people agree that, like, they're technical disasters or unoptimized or not that different from the previous game. Yes, they still sell very, very well, but there's certainly a lot of angst. And there's people on the sidelines like myself where I'm not that interested in modern Pokemon games just because they all seem to kind of blend together. But I played Pal World. It was a good time. Yeah, it was a really good time.
I'll play it.
It was different,
See, I still play the modern Pokemon because I try. First off, I want to give value to my Switch. My Switch has, I think, over the time gotten value for me personally. I know a lot of people are like, I play a family. Well, it's just me, so it's not like anyone else is using the Switch, right? So I think I have gotten value now after a couple years of getting several games, including the Pokemon, modern Pokemon. I've gotten value. However, I have no desire to get a Switch 2 unless they really pop off with this next Pokemon. And a lot of people like that. That's why Nintendo Switch sales have gone dramatically down. One, because they're expensive, but two, there's no reason to own one. There's no game that's worth spending that much money on a Nintendo Switch. And the thing about Power World is you just need a PC or any console. In fact, it's better than Pokemon because unlike Pokemon, which you can only play on a very specific console, it's not like you can play it on multiple consoles. Like they're going to get to a point where you can only play Pokemon on the 2. With Power World, you can play it on anything. You can play it on your other hand drive or handhelds, like the Steam Deck. You can play this at any location. You can't do that with Pokemon. And that's why a lot of people are liking Power World more, because it gives them that itch that Pokemon would have usually given them, and it gives more freedom. And it's got the survival aspect, which is not something that Pokemon has. It also provides, guns. People like guns. You get to have guns. It's cool. It's a concept that people never seen. Pokemon with guns. Who would have thought? And so it's popular.
Technically, I don't know where you put Power World. I think technically it fits in the survival category, yes, because of like base building, resource collection. I think it technically fits in the survival category, but I'm sure there's more nuance to which category it fits into. To Pokemon, or to Nintendo's credit, they did eventually come out with Pokopia, and that seemed to connect with people. That was a fun, kind of fresh take. But
yes, Pokopia was surprisingly a hit. Though I feel like it also resonated with kids as well, especially with like people like, all those similar kind of genre games, like Animal Farm and all that stuff or whatever. All these the weird little games that aren't like your traditional Pokemon or traditional kind of game. Those side games people seem to really like, especially kids. So it makes sense. It didn't look bad. It wasn't for me, but it didn't look like it was a bad game. In fact, it did better than ZA, I believe.
Yeah, this lawsuit always felt really, really petty and stupid, and it looks like it is going nowhere. So there you go.
Good.
Survival crafting collector game. Sure. So
good. That's how it should be. All right. Let's see what we got. We got Michael Brown. Sony and Xbox teamed up behind the scenes to make them lose the lawsuit. I mean, Nintendo was winning the console wars, if you wanted to be honest. Nintendo, just like the patent trolls, they can't stop unless they hit really hard rock until they hit really hard rock. Yes. Anyways, I personally think this is great. I'm glad to see Nintendo take a fat L. It's time that they start taking fat L's. This is only going to benefit the consumer in the long run because it will force competition, allow more people to make the games like Pokemon and compete against Pokemon, which will force Nintendo to actually provide what the consumers want. Right now, the consumers have nothing else that they can, there's no alternative. It's like Destiny, right? A lot of people stuck with Destiny because there wasn't a true blue competitor. Well, now that Destiny's dead, now people are kind of going, to Division or like Warframe. To things are similar, but they're not the exact same thing. And the same thing with Pokemon. There isn't like, you have Digimon, which is great. I keep thinking I need to play that new one that's on PC. But you're not getting, people want something like, they want Pokemon. And when Pokemon fails to deliver Pokemon, they go to games like Power World, which gives you the similar to even better experiences, which I think that Power World has a better open world experience, explorative, than any Pokemon game we've ever had, except for the classics. I think the even though the graphics and how it was is, old timey, I would rather us go back to the old style of, Game Boy Color games, but it actually have an open explorative world. Like I that's just me. I know maybe I'm in the minority. I would be okay not having 10K graphics. I would be okay with the classic Pokemon game. And I think if we're looking at, let's be honest, I'm going to say what people aren't going to say. Nintendo fanboys are going to buy it anyways. They're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Kids are going to buy it anyways because it's Pokemon. So let's be honest. Let's just be honest. The idea that everything needs to be 4K. You got to be able to zoom in on Pikachu's left butt cheek in 4K. Like, no one cares about that. Just devise a game that people will enjoy. That's why you still see people stream. That's why people were spending $20 on the Fire Red Leaf Green emulator and celebrating and saying, oh my God, the best thing they've done. It's because even though it may not be the new sauce, it's still classics like that people enjoy. Nintendo don't care. They're old fogies. They live in a dinosaur land. They're antiquated fossils at this point. Old school Yu-Gi-Oh and Bakugan were my favorites. I mean, old school, yeah. That's another brand. Yu-Gi-Oh is another brand that I feel for sure. Like Yu-Gi-Oh feels like it's meant for people who are autistic, schizo, or have or ADHD or something. That it doesn't make sense to me how people can play a game where the first turn you could spend 30 to 40 minutes and then win the game on the spot. I don't know how that's fun or interesting or enjoyable. And the fact that there's like 30,000 rules, I don't know. Even Magic Gathering has a bunch of rules, but it's still easier to digest. But we're getting on a tangent. We're talking about Nintendo. But anyways, I'm Mr. Game Counselor. Enjoy the extra side video whenever I release it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Huzzah!